Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I'm going to be talking about my talk show. Is a talk show that heals at LaRonda Courtney. Um, it also is a catalyst for change. That is what I'm going to be talking about. I'm also going to introduce this book. This is my book, Sacred Memories. It can be published at Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, eBay.com, BooksAMillion.com, Walmart.com. And this is the book that I'm going to be talking and reading from. So we're going to start off with chapter 13. Why don't we start off with saying chapter 4? It's talking about healing from the pain of my past. At times when I miss hearing his still small voice echoing my ear, the days seem longer. For I had no set compass to provide the direction and guidance I need. Therefore, I felt lost without words from him. That is chapter 4 on page 49 of Sacred Memories. I felt lost without a word from him, and this uncertainty blinded my vision. For I had begun to replace my being cynical and my jadedness and pessimistic with a renewed optimistic. So this show, Girl Score Power, is really about a show that heals. On page 50, or chapter 4, focus on the steps of healing. In the theoretic framework of the act of abuse, the victim had to use self-direct learning skills to reprocess their brain and discover new ways of coping with the incident, in which they eradicate these feelings from their mind and endeavor to rewrite the impulse in the brain that evokes these horrific recollection of the abuse because it hurt to reflect on the incident. Transformation learning for the abuse can be a difficult transition for them because they have to accept the fact that I'm a victim of incest or rape and I was traumatized. Before learning how to trust people again, in general, was a laboratory process to secure trust all over again. Now, these are the 4 steps that I put in this book, Sacred Memories. Forgiveness is the number one thing, but it's a process to forgive. You're not going to forgive overnight. So forgiveness and release. Once you forgive, once you get really told out and soul and forgive, you're able to release that. But that is in a process. Now, number 2, do not reflect on the abuse or child incest or any pain. Do not dwell on the abuse unless it is to mentor others. And me, as in a season, the show is a show that heals. I tell people, sometimes your closest family members or sometimes your closest friends, they're always bringing up what you did in your past. If you can go away from a season from other people that know of your situation, you heal quicker because you can get it out of your mind. You can suppress it. Number 4, release rejection of the abuse for my current season or whatever situation it is. Chapter 4, 53, page 53 say, the power of forgiveness. The dictionary defines healing as to set right, to repair, to restore to health or soundness, to cure, and to restore to spiritual wholeness. Healing has been part of my life existing for many years. I do not dwell on the painful memory of my past. When you forgive those who have hurt you, you have to release it. That's the number 1 step. It would be a big mistake to allow yesterday's pain to continue to resurface like a magnet and draw you back into a place of darkness and starkness. I had a relationship with my first love that kept me grounded and prohibited me from becoming embittered and resentment. Yet still there were areas of my life that I had not permitted his love to filter through. Place of pain that could touch me and spare my soul with flashbacks of agonizing and crippling memories. All right. Healing power of love. Suddenly one day these circumstances changed, for I did not have to look into the mirror and endure a telescopic lens assaulting me with old images of my shameful and horrific encounter. replayed all over again in my mind and blackens my soul more and more. These instances that cause me to have an identity crisis every time I will contemplate an intimate relationship with African American males. However, my first love brought inner healing and comfort to me. I cannot explain how much freedom I experienced back in the 1990s when the guilt and shame was lifted. I felt like a bird with clipped wings that after being mended with loving care was finally able to fly again. For after being healed and discharged from this painful ordeal, I could see my life in a different perspective. For I could love again, and I was at trust level where I could begin to give people the benefit of the doubt without accusing them of not being worthy of me or my time. So now, healing power of release. I did say on the description that 14, but I am going to get to that because we're just 5 minutes in. And I do thank you for listening to me today. Healing power release. Although my significant other love grounded me, there were still latent issues plaguing my subconscious. Before I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, when I still lived in the states of Florida, approximately 10 years ago, while I was taking family members to a doctor's appointment, and while riding through the town where I was abused as a small child, a painful memory sent goosebumps through my entire body, screaming for some closure. These dark days are still part of my memory, and one should have happier recollection from their childhood. Nevertheless, healing does take time. For some people, receiving inner healing from abuse is a long, drawn-out process that does not happen overnight. It can take years before the seed of healing can begin to grow. One of the first steps I took toward healing was receiving counseling from a local therapist, which helped me to let go of the guilt and the embarrassment caused by the sexual abuse. I realized these feelings will stay with me forever, but the stimulant of healing erased most of its symptoms. The second step in the grieving process was I forgave myself, knowing that my God did not hold the sexual abuse against me. When I received salvation at the age of 7, my spirit man began the long, slow track back to wholeness. And healing power or mentoring. When I attended to the pain that had been holding me back for advancement, I began to feel more optimistic about my chance in life. Faith was the catalyst that enabled me to achieve divine healing. It was then that I realized one cannot master this on their own without the intervention and guidance. I needed him to give me hope and courage despite the very real fear and anxiety that had clouded my judgment. My first love, Jesus Christ, helped me to release the pain in several ways. Initially, I began writing about my feelings in the journey, expounding on the incident of sexual abuse. I felt better and better each time I would jot down a passage of my pain in the journey. This was catastrophic for me and encouraged me to move to great things in my life. Faith and healing are interchangeable components in the recovery process, and they are both necessary ingredients to the process of self-actualization. So, this is chapter 4. I'm also going to read a little about chapter 13 because this show is talking about, healing, the show that healed. Now, the final grieving affair. The final outbreak of a grieving affair is abuse. It's like a disturbing dream that you awake from similar to living in a coma for years, for you have no recollection or memory of anything that happened before the trauma occurred. Thank you for listening. When I stepped out of the mystery, I felt a newfound freedom. This process allowed me to finally visualize a horizon. This dilemma had me straying hold on me for several decades. Pain engulfed me when the deepest dark prevailed my soul. I could not really experience his salvation. I did not feel I'm a victor. I did not feel I'm a victor and not a victim. Now, though I am recovered from the sickness of abuse, a new direction in my life has shown me a brighter future, making each day clear. Okay, so this show is a show that heals, So if it's a show that heals, I just want to say that we shouldn't ponder on what happened to us. We should move forward. And that is where catalysts for change come. When you have a mindset of a catalyst for change, you don't focus on your past. You are trying to be better. You want to becoming something better. And the only way you talk about your pain is you are trying to mentor, you're trying to educate, or you're trying to uplift. The power inherited in the spoken word. One new reality I welcome is this horrific time was the power to articulate positive thinking in your life, to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, for I found it perforce. Speaking positively and using a method of affirmation can be a useful tool to aid a victim into their continuous effort to become complete and whole. It is my prayer that every victim of abuse, no matter when it occurred in the journey, can find peace tonight and every other night from here unto eternity. For you felt it totally. So therefore you need to be healed from the disease, whether it's rape, child incest, child abuse, or some form of domestic violence. You will never realize the powerhouse inside of the spoken word. For God calls this word to order by the power of the spoken word. And God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw the light, and that it was good. So I believe words are very powerful if you speak them. How often have we spoke things out loud and heard the power behind those words? I'm going to pass this test, or I'm going to find my way out of this predicament. A passersby perceive this as a talking to yourself, but in reality, you were reinforcing your great belief and your ability for a positive outcome out of a negative reality. In my own struggling, using this time honor techniques have helped me to increase my chances of totally recovering from this sad dilemma. For I have remained negative in my thinking and continue lie the diverse situation of the past to dictate my future. In this final season, the short-term memory of the ordeal has finally faded away because the victim relinquished her pain. Okay. All right. So that's chapter 13. So this show is a show that heals. It's a show that provides healing. You have to want to have healing. It's not just going to happen overnight. You just have to want to have healing. So we're going to go to chapter 15. And I think we're already here. Balanced life after the abuse. The balanced life after abuse is a pivotal moment for a victim who has developed ingredients of love, peace, and stability that took years to acquire. However, now the victim is living out a dream of holiness in every area of their life. What does it take to be whole and live a life free of negative thinking? When one has to reach the tightrope of uncertainty and there is no hope to sustain the journey, often abuse has affected their mindset to such a degree that their mind lingers in a curved direction. But the situation can turn into a 360-degree position if one reflects on positive attitude. And I was talking about positive attitude series, and this is still other parts of a positive attitude series. In this season, they have discovered that they have the tools necessary to cope. This journey has many cuts, turns, and sharp curves before you find a peaceful place from the abuse situation. When one has been ripped apart at the seam and ravaged by abuse, they do not feel that wholeness is part of their destination because the bitter agony of the defeat for so many times has blinded their eyes to a hopeful tomorrow. However, when repletion comes, the fog of doubt and pain is replaced by feelings of satiation and completion. Completion is having a life that is full of contentment and a journey where strife and anger is limited. Weakness now is a sign of defeat and being afraid. But in this season, life that is full of stability is a journey a victim often fantasizes about when they're battling the pain. In this season, wholeness is releasing of all toxic that was part of the abuse cycle, resentment, anger, and rage, which the victim has to choose their words wisely and detox all negative thinking from their mind. Okay, now if you have like a self pity of yourself and you don't think you're good enough, now it comes from some kind of negative thinking. So, first, one must examine their emotions and come to the terms with the negative feelings that produce hurts, physical demeanor, and affect their spiritual man. All three of these make up the balance in one's journey. These processes are all part of a growing dynamic that help a victim to have a smooth transition from the abuse. Second, the spirit helps one to examine and take a thorough examination of one journey as a process because the spirit interchange in the heart and the spirit is part of the human being a dynamic make use of the body. One of the systems shut down, it affects the other from function as whole. Third, I learned about life lessons after the abuse. Life as we know can be a balanced act if boundaries are set and rules are followed to maintain the healing process, such as not continue to focus on the former year of the abuse that help one isolate themselves and live in a more capacity. The, the positive thinking, because we are talking about the positive thinking series, the positive thinking can have an effect on one's journey. And we take it to heart in the journey because life is a mixture of sunshine and rain, where the blossom of a flower soar above the darkness. Sigmund Freud wrote, "We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love, and the unexpressed emotion will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in an ugly way." In the balance of the abuse, the life has been affected by negative words that produce negative thinking, which increase negative feelings and emotions, which produce negative decisions, which one have grown to know and accustomed to the effect of the abuse. We are all part of that place that constitute a negative learning curve. Without opposition to force, one could not push themselves toward their destiny to achieve their endeavor. One cannot learn from life's lesson without encountering resistance. There is not room for growth, which bring about change to reach our purpose in life. Challenges in life are to make us strong and try to hinder one movement if they focus on the pain from the previous season. Meditating one's pain resonate that event into a positive season, causing flashbacks. One will get off balance and the progress will be delayed. In this new season, hello?
What's up, Renee?
Girl, he for real, girl. He don't show me so many pictures. He's setting up in his vehicles and everything. He's such a sweetheart.
Oh, man. You sure you don't work for the auction like you did, that you?
He don't do what?
You work for the auction too, did you? And
That man is a bomb expert. You just got a good one on your page this time. My experience in the journey. Okay, why don't you say something on the show? Because I'm on my show right now talking about the talk show that heals. No, my talk show, meaning I said the talk show that heals. That's what Girls Core Power is. My mantra. Yeah, my mantra is the talk show that heals. I'm on YouTube right now. Okay. Oh, it's just 142. Okay.
got the email from my text.
I'm on YouTube right now, but I need to, let me see. I don't know if chat. It ain't gonna let me do it. Dang it. Nah, it ain't on Facebook. It's on my YouTube because I got an audience on there. But my mantra is, no, she didn't answer. She just think this man is a fraud. But you know what the Lord, this man is. Well, I know what he did to me too. Well, one guy, he wanted me to send him some money too. I don't been there, and I know how crooked they can be. But this man is like a friend. He just called me beauty queen, my lady. You so beautiful. I need to be restored. I'll send you the link when I finish. Okay, all right, bye-bye. So this show is a mantra. This show's mantra stands for the show that heals. It's not only a talk show, but it's the mantra behind Girls Core Power. The mantra is the show that heals. So, so my experience in the journey, we are on page 181 of Sacred Memories. My experience in the journey had me to break away from the pain and reflect on the episode in the mind of the acts of abuse that transpired in childhood. This was a lesson learned as I became as an adult. So, the King Spirit for me became a clear personality of the journey. In this season of abuse, I felt like a ship that was about to sink in the ocean. Finally, the season of a balanced life has its up and down, but through perversion, one is able to climb out of this rut and see a dawning of a bright day. Forgiveness is repenting from the act, and that removes the blemish for one life. In the Victorian Christian home and their belief system, and believe true forgiveness being whole in everyone's life. Being a functional individual in one's journey is the epitome of true freedom. And forgiveness is to give up the claim one has on you and allow resentment to flee from your presence. According to Sullivan, personality is a dynamic process which emerges the context of interpersonal relation with the ultimate aim of avoiding anxiety. One of the main reasons anxiety exists is the disapproval of others, especially of those people who are in close relationship with the individual. Forgiveness has been defined in many ways, but more widespread definition, a willingness to abandon one right to negative feelings like resentment, offense, revenge, reward. Finally, in this chapter, forgiveness is the key to harmony in one's journey after abuse is paralyzed strength in the weak, injured heart, and mold a foundation independence from the fear of the abuse. Resting in a balanced life is the equivalent of total completeness and freedom from the pain. At one come to this season, there are many roadblocks in the way to deter them from reaching this milestone in one's journey. The pain has been reincarnation from the past, and liberation is the true essence of forgiveness. So, I'm almost about to finish this. We're at almost 25 minutes. Holistic behavior, structured abuse. Holistic behavior, the balanced life for the injured party. The wellness is shaping the mental and physical soundness of trying to maintain or achieving regular exercise and proper diet, and refrain the mind from negative brain food to sustain wholeness in one journey. And research. Holistic wellness is a means to develop a lifestyle according to healthy living in every aspect of life, according to Geegan Olson. Content wellness help a victim to receive improvement in psychological function, and the concept has been used to enhance prevention and treatment of physical disorder. The holistic for abuse relationship of the wounded can be an eye-opener, lifelong process that gains clarity in their mind and physical domain to help one cope with the stress of abuse relationship. This behavior helps one to have a better coping mechanism because exercise release postpartum effects from the abuse cycle, mischild pain led to ridiculed childhood. So that was chapter 15 in a nutshell, talking about the balanced life. It takes time for us to have a balanced life, but Girls Core Power Talk is the mentor, the show that heals, the show that wants to bring the catalyst for change. So I thank you for listening today. This is LaRonda Courtney, host, executive producer, sounding off. And I pray that you will have a great day. And God bless you. Bye-bye. So we're getting ready to